I see a lot of people reselling and collecting postcards that are in their 20s, 30s, and even younger. The families are into it and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to go away. It's one of the top three things in the country. Stamps, coins, postcards is what I read. So Sal and me welcome you back to SM Postcards. Sal hasn't been on a video in a while, and he's under contract, and he's trying to close out the year. Next year, he's going to be in the videos a little bit. Take a look at him. He's a ringneck parrot. He has a little ring under his neck there. He's about 35, 36 years old. That's about the lifespan of these guys. But he sits in my office right over here. No pinching. He likes to pinch. So, but he sits in my office with me, and then when I go upstairs, he goes upstairs. And he has 2 cages. And he kind of walks around his cage upstairs. But he's going to be in more videos as we get going on there. So, but he's a good boy. Wring his neck once in a while. But say hi, Sal. Well, let's get on with the video. You're hogging the screen. Sal wanted to do an introduction. So I just put him back in his cage over there. He'll watch, he'll fall asleep while we do this. But he's been with our family for years. And he's just part of the family. And he's always with me. Wherever I'm at, he wants to be. So, but next year I'm going to put him in some videos. Got a few things he wants to do. And he needs to work for his seed money. But today, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the video. Today, got a few things. The what's sold for eBay. I sold a pretty good card yesterday. Wasn't too bad. Been listed about 6 to 8 months. And I stuck firm with it. I didn't have best offer or anything. It was sold for full price. You'll see that. But I like to do the what's sold because it has a variety of cards you can see that I sell out of the mass quantity of listings I have. Then today's special topic. It's something I don't know a lot about. But I've always listed these cards. Sometimes I feel I'm missing something out on them. But I just never took the time to dig into it. So I took a little while, did this video on World's Fair and Expo postcards. If you've been doing postcards, you've seen these. So I kind of broke it down the best I could. I think I got them all, but if I'm missing one, let me know. And we can put together, as you'll see the sheets that I did on the sell-through rates of the different World's Fairs and stuff, that's going to be on the 2024 sell-through rate document that I do for the Ko-Fi store, and we'll get in that in a minute. But I went through and I broke them down. Some I couldn't really find enough information to do sell-through rate and stuff with, but a lot of them I did. And there's one of them that does pretty well if you see any of those cards. So that'll be in the special topic is World's Fair and Expositions. Then I had a poll. I put this poll out there because I wanted to find out the main reason some postcard sellers fail. Why do they fail? Why do they stop? And I wanted to see what you have to say and others, because I have my idea on why from the comments and stuff I get in the messages. But we'll go over that. And then I got some viewer comments. One of them talks about someone buys 4 cards and eBay combined the order. He wasn't able to use eBay standard envelope. I think I know what that issue is. But I replied to him and let him know. But I wanted to share it with everyone because it's a common thing I get messages a lot on. But let's go ahead and get started on the what's sold postcards. It won't take too long. I only sold 12 cards. But that one is pretty good. So the first one I got here, I had to look at it. It's got a lot of writing on it. So that kind of tells you maybe it's an undivided back. Back in the days, before 1907, before they changed the law, there was no divided line. All you can put on the back was the address. So they had a writing tab, and then people wrote on here as much as possible. And then they decided to go divided back. European people were doing it already, and then we adopted it. This is an undivided back card of City Hall, Philadelphia. Nothing amazing about it, even though it's a undivided back. A lot of these cards out there sold for $4.75. Next one sold for $5.08. So I must have had it like $5.65 and sent a 10% offer or something. This is Bronco busting. This 1949 it was posted. A linen card. Sometimes you gotta feel the linen cards, or you look at it and you see the waffle texture, then you know it's linen. But that's Bronco busting, and it's a posted card, and that sold for $4.75. Then I sold a submarine, This is the Ronquill SS396. It's one of those prints. It's not the gloss, it's just on matted paper, lighter paper. And I got maybe 10 of these left. That's a submarine, $4.75. Then I sold a picture of Laramie Peak. Not for sure where this is. Wyoming. It's a view card of a mountain. That's the mountain. That's it. That's the sky, that's the grass, trees. Someone likes that mountain or lives by it or going to frame it or whatever, but $4.75 for a view card. I sell those all the time, view cards. Next one is USS William O. Derby TAP 127. It's one of the ships, not for sure what it does. It's on the semi-gloss front and matte back paper. A little thicker paper than the other one, but that's sold for $4.75. Sold the Lighthouse. New London Harbor Lighthouse, Connecticut. Couldn't get any more plainer than that. That's the lighthouse. Lighthouses, there's collectors of lighthouses. It's unposted. Chrome card, $4.75. But those niches like that, you want, if you get a box, half a box of lighthouses, put them up. That way when people look for lighthouses, they come in and look at one, then they look at another, then another. You're going to get that more people on your eyes on it. And there's a couple lighthouses you want to look for. I think the one with the black thing that they moved. Some of the lighthouses go for a little bit more money, get a few extra dollars for. Next boat sold for $5.55. This is one of those naval ship cards. They don't sell as well as some of my other ones, but you've probably seen those. And this has got an advertising on the back of lumber. That's probably why I went up a little bit. Right there, there's some advertising on there. But that sold for $5.55. Mechanical cotton picker. Yeah, mechanical cotton picker. Vertical card up and down, unposted. Chrome card. $4.75. What can I say? Next one is another print. Puget Sound 8038. It's one of those color prints. It's on the matted paper. Not posted. That's what one of the clubs printed those out, and that's what they used to sell. And that sold for $4.75. This one, I'm actually not sure, some kind of tomb. McKinley's tomb is what this is. President McKinley's tomb. And if you look at it, it's an undivided back. And it was posted in 1907, right before they did the divided backs. And look at the address they put on there. Just very plain, knew where it went, stuff like that. $4.75. And then here's the card. I got this in a lot, and this was a baseball team. And it's a real photo postcard. And I sold it for $37.65. That was about the comps of baseball teams out there. And it's been out there about 6 to 8 months, so I feel I'm right. But someone paid full price. There it is, right there. It's the Potts Hill baseball team from P. Hines. Here, posted 1914. And how did I know it's Pottsville? There's nothing on the front. I just took what they said on the back here. It says Potts Hill baseball team from P. Hines. So I went with it, and that sold. Now, how do you ship or mail a card that's over eBay standard envelope limits? Any cards that are over $20 is what they insure up to, and the requirements is up to $20 per item or $50 for the whole order. So if it's over $20 or the whole order is over that amount, or it's just something doesn't give me the option for eBay standard envelope, this is what I do. And this is what I've been doing for a while. And I like it. It's easy. It's not a lot of tape, not a lot of folding and stuff like that. So I'll take this card and I'll put it in a brand new sleeve. Since it's a real photo postcard and it's a little more expensive. Let me see what I did with this. And it's a little more expensive. I'll put it into a top loader, a rigid side loader. So now it's rigid. Nothing's going to happen to that card. Next thing I do is I got a bunch of these Ziploc bags. I got a box of them when I used to do toys and stuff. So I just wanted to use them up. They don't cost that much. I'll put them in there. It keeps the water out of it. And I'll just seal that up. Then I'll put a nice, I don't tape it or do anything like that. Then I'll just fold it like that. And I also have a lot of these little pocket bag bubble mailers. I want to use those up because because I don't do toys anymore and stuff. I don't do stuff to do, so I got a bunch of those. I'll put that inside the bag. So now it's got a little protection. Really, it doesn't matter with that rigid folder, if the bubble wrap or anything. But what it does is, when I put it in a box, these little white boxes, they're not that expensive. I don't do a lot of high value cards and stuff, so I don't go through these like crazy, so it's no problem spending an extra 20-30 cents. Then I'll put them in there, and what that bubble wrap does is keeps it from sliding around. And then I'll close the box. It closes like that. If I can do it. And then they close up just like that. I'll put one piece of tape. They'll close it shut. And I always do a little branding on the back. It says that right there. So this will go, it's safe, it doesn't slide around, it's not wiggly, and it's about 6 to 7 ounces. Someone paid $37, plus they paid shipping. Any card that won't go eBay standard envelope, I put shipping, calculated shipping on it. So they paid basically for this. And this is nothing, if something's going to happen, it's going to be catastrophic. Someone's going to run it over or something like that. And it's not going to be charged as a flat or all that other stuff post office does. Takes that out of the equation. So that's what I do with those people. A lot of people ask me about that. And I have links in the description for all the stuff that I use. And that's just a 7-inch by 5-inch by 1-inch white mailing box. And then I have the 7.52s and the 7.44s. Those are the 3 I use. Anything else starts going in eBay boxes or other boxes I have. But it's a nice presentation. Just put the label right on there and it'll go. And it fits in the mailbox. So that's what I do when I have higher value cards and bigger lots. And then the last card that sold, the USS Shangri-La, CBS 38 aircraft carrier. This is a publisher card. The club bought these cards from a publisher of these. They didn't make these. And that sold for $4.75. Basically all my ships are $4.75. They're just all one price. And I sell them all the time. Now, I sold 12 cards, so I want to do 14 a day. I'm down 2, but I'm okay because I sold $102.88 in sales because of that one card and some of the other ones. So I want to do $70 a day and 14 cards a day this year. And I only did 12, but I did $102, $103. It wasn't bad. My average sale price for the day was $8.57. So that brought that up. That's how you can bring your ASP up a little bit, is you get some of those higher value cards, and that's what I want to do in 2024, is go out there and get some better selling cards. I have a lot of average stock, but I want to get some stuff that's a little more higher end, but not way up there where I get all the questions and stuff like that. If I see them, I'll probably pick them up, but that's what I do. But that's what I did for selling there. Now, is this going to happen every day? No. That card sat in there for 6 to 8 months before it sold. Didn't have best offer on. Don't promote that much. I have non-immediate payment on. I've had it for years, and I do 60-day free returns. And with that one, I did shipping. All the other ones that sell for $4.75 up to $19, $20, that's all free shipping. So it's just something I've done since the beginning. But that's what sold on eBay. Special topic. Now again, I knew basically nothing about these things except the World's Fair, Expos. I knew they were on there. I knew they didn't sell that well. They're average sellers for me. But I really needed to dig down and find out, what is all these expositions and World Fairs mean? Is there something special? Is there one that's important that I need to look for? I never really took the time to dig down. I just comp them and put them up. I'd get stacks of them. But they didn't sell as much as I wanted because there was a lot of them out there. But I wanted to dig a little deeper, and I did that. I think I got them all, as I said before, but if I'm missing any, let me know. But I went out and I scoured the internet, wherever I could, about World Fair and Expositions over the years, worldwide, to find the list that I'm going to show you through this segment of the video. But I went out and got a couple paragraphs and some facts about World's Fair, about some things that happened at these things and how important they were back in the day. And I'm going to read that to you and talk about it. And while I do that, I'm going to show you some of the World's Fair Exposition cards that I found for sale or sold out there. Here we go. The history of World Fairs and Expos is a testament to humanity's unending quest for innovation, cultural exchange, and global cooperation. Now the world has gotten a lot smaller since the early 1900s. I mean, the world isn't that big to us anymore as it used to be in the early days. These grand international expositions have a remarkable lineage dating back to the 19th century. The inaugural World's Fair, known as the Great Expedition, was held in London's Crystal Palace in 1851. So there's a date. 1851 is when these things started. Organized by Prince Albert and Queen Victoria. It was a stunning showcase of industrial and technological progress, with exhibitors from across the globe presenting their inventions and cultural achievements. This event's resounding success set a precedent for the future world fairs and established them as a platforms for displaying the very best of human creativity and ingenuity. Kind of reminds me of the place over in Disneyland. I'll have to think what the name of that is. As time progressed, World's Fairs and Expos became instrumental in shaping history. In 1889, Exposition in Paris saw the unveiling of the Eiffel Tower, an architectural marvel that has since become an enduring symbol of France and human achievement. We actually saw it. We were right underneath it on there. These expositions have often transcended their original purpose, taking on roles of diplomatic tools and catalysts for social change. So a little political there. For example, the 1962 Seattle World's Fair, known as the Century 21 Exposition, so there's different names to these that you'll see when I do the list, played a pivotal role in shaping the city's skyline with the iconic Space Needle. So the Space Needle came out of the 1962 World's Fair, while inspiring a vision of futuristic world during the height of the space race. Furthermore, the World's Fairs have fostered international dialogue and collaboration. By the 1853 New World's Fair, that's another big one, which featured participants from 37 countries, fostering diplomatic relations and cultural exchange during a time of global tensions. In the present day, World's Fairs and Expos have evolved to address contemporary challenges such as sustainability, technology, and cultural diversity. They continue to provide a unique platform for nations to share their innovations and traditions with a global audience. These expositions not only reflect the spirit of their time, but also serve as reminders of our collaborative aspirations for a brighter future built on collaboration, innovation, and celebration of human achievement. Now, how do you think the internet has changed some of this? Everything's a lot closer, a lot smaller, with instant access, pictures all over the place. I mean, just histories and stuff. I think that we've changed a lot from when these started. But I got some facts here. 3 facts I found about the World's Fair I thought were interesting. The first fact was Eiffel Tower, that was over in Paris, France, was originally temporary. It was only a temporary architecture. The Eiffel Tower was one of the most iconic landmarks in the world and a symbol of Paris. Was initially constructed as a temporary exhibit for the 1889 exposition held in Paris. That's the World's Fair. Gustave Eiffel's is his name. I think I said it right. Gustave Eiffel's iron masterpiece was intended to stand for just 20 years. But its popularity and utility as a radio transmission tower saved it from demolition. Today it still stands as a prominent feature of the Parisian skyline. Yes, when we were there, they were under construction. We couldn't go up in there. But did you know there's an apartment that Gustave Eiffel put in there? There was scientific stuff or whatever inside there. There's a video on that, I think on YouTube, and there's one on Discovery or something about the little apartment, and they show pictures of it. It's pretty neat. Ice cream cones, the sweet invention. 1904 St. Louis World Fair was also introduced a delightful treat to the world, the ice cream cone. How did that come about? It is believed that an ice cream vendor ran out of dishes to serve his ice cream, and a nearby waffle vendor rolled his waffles into a cone shape type thing to help out. This accidental creation quickly gained popularity, and the ice cream cone became a standard way to enjoy the frozen dessert. Today it remains a favorite summer treat for people around the globe. So the fair brought the Eiffel Tower. Now they've got the ice cream cone. In summary, postcards were closely related to World's Fairs as they were served as souvenirs. So World's Fair postcards were closely related. They were communication tools, historical records, and cultural artifacts that helped capture and share the spirit of these grand international expositions with people from all over the world. There's a lot of them. A lot of innovations and stuff, people showing things and like that. But did you know the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, Chicago, Illinois, it's often credited with popularizing the use of postcards in the United States? So that's the 1893 Columbian Exposition, key name. While postcards existed before the fair, it was during the event that they gained widespread popularity. The first known picture postcard in the United States was created for the fair, featuring the exposition's Court of Honor. And I'm showing some of these as we go through, with its iconic neoclassical buildings and fountains. This marked the beginning of a trend in which picture postcards became popular way for people to share scenes and memories of their travels. So I just showed you 4 of the cards from that Columbian Exposition on there. So they say Postcards United States was born at this, sometimes the first postcard was there, but postcards, like they said, was already out there, probably European. We had a few here, but this really catapulted postcards, and you'll find a lot of those from that exposition out there. But how do they break down and sell? I did this many different ways, and I finally just said I got to put this up this way because there's just so much. And there's probably some experts watching this that know more about these things than I will ever know. They probably forget more than I know. And remember, I break the sell-through rate down. I take the sold for 90 days in eBay. I just put the name in there. Tells me how many are sold. Then I unclick sold and tells me how many are listed. Sold divided by listed times 100 gives you a percent, and I round it up and down. Not scientific, just a quick look. 90 day, what's happening, what cards are moving through. So like that, so I get a feel of, is this a better card to pick up, or is it something I should just leave alone, or is it really, really good? So I put it in ranges. I want, in my head I use ranges. So 0 to 3 is red. I don't, QSL cards, Cypress Gardens, Mount Vernon, Niagara Falls, a lot of those do have a little higher sell rate, but I know they sit. So they're going to be red to me. I'm not really going to even pay attention to them. 4 to 7% are the average cards, which I look for all the time. 8 to 10, a little bit higher. But in the green there, the high and average is what my niche is. That divided back and down, basically, is what I look for. And while I'm doing that, I usually get some 11% and above high ones that pop in, like that baseball card. That was in the middle of a lot while I was looking for average cards. You're going to find those. But if you go out and look only at high cards, then you search a lot. But if I figured if I'm looking for average cards, these other ones pop up, and I don't look at the red ones. You will get some red ones, but you just deal with them as you can. But that's the little gauge we want to look at while we go through this. But what I did is I went out there on eBay. I typed in World's Fair, Expo, whatever I could to get the different names, different postcards. And every time I come up with one, I would put it on my list. And I was able to sort, and then I also went on the internet and got a list of them by date that I could copy in here. And I just started putting them in there. And this took a little bit of time to go through and double check and stuff. But here's the list, and I'll leave the little gauge up here as well. But the first one, there's some on here I didn't get any numbers at all. I didn't feel comfortable with the numbers, or I couldn't find anything on them. And you're going to see that on one of them that's real early. There's only 2 sold and 2 listed, 100%. But the Great Exposition, Crystal Palace Exposition, London, United Kingdom, 1851. Were there postcards around that time? I didn't find anything on that. It's blank. Then the next one is you got Exposition Paris, nothing. Then the Centennial Exposition 1876, there's 59 sold and 198 listed. And I got them sorted different ways. I'll show you here in a second to make it easier to look at. But going down, then you get into the World's Columbian Exposition. That's the one where the postcards catapulted from, is what they say. There's 19 sold and 70 listed, 27%. So though, all the way down the list, you're going to see those. And down at the bottom there are other ones that I found that are newer, in the 80s and the 2000s. Just nothing out there that I could really say sold or listed, put a sell-through rate to. And there's some in the middle there that just couldn't find some things. And there's some with a lot of cards. But there's collectors for these that buy these and put museums and stuff that might want to pick these up. But this is sorted by date. So this is the date order of what the first one is, whatever. And all of these charts I'm going to show you are going to be in the 2024 sell-through rate document that I put on Ko-Fi. It's free to download. It says pay what you want. You can put 0 in there and download it all you want. It's a PDF and print it out. I do it for myself, so I thought I would share. Some people have donated. You don't have to. You can put 0 in there. I just want to share it, and if it helps you out, it helps you out. Some people have brought it to shows and looked at it and stuff. It's just another tool to use to say, hey, this has got a better chance of selling than this one, is what the data shows. Doesn't mean they're going to sell for top dollar or sell at all. It just helps you make an educated guess instead of staring blankly into a white box of paper, colored paper, that you're not sure what sells or not. This will help you learn. It helps me. Before I go to a big show or I go onto an online auction or something, I'll go through my categories in my store, what I need. Do I need some Louisiana? Do I need some Mississippis? Am I looking for real photos today? Am I looking just for chromes? And then I look through and just scan over the sell-through rates. What's the big ones out there? What's going on there? And I look at that document a lot. But I'm going to do one a year because the data doesn't change as much in postcards. It's pretty static. Some things will tick off if someone passes away or something like that, but I'm not worried about those. I'm looking for the repeatable stuff. So I figured I'd do it once a year and put it out there, and people can download it for free. And a lot of people have downloaded, over 150 people have downloaded and stuff like that. But just take a look at the Ko-Fi store, and there's a lot of stuff out there I put up. I got some postcard lots, I got some supplies, and if you're a member, you get really good deals. You get 40% off everything on there. But that's sorted by date. Didn't do much for me because I want to know, I'm a reseller. I don't care about when they were. I want to know what sells. Now this is sorted by name. So if I'm looking for one on that sheet, say I got a card from Louisiana World Exposition, 1894, there's a number at the top there. That's the names they use. So this pretty well help me figure it out. I'll fix that 1984, maybe I'll move it Louisiana 1984. So there's some massaging I still have to do. But if you look at this all the time, your mind goes crazy. So this is in name order. And now, this is the one that I like. What are the top sell-through rates? That's what you want to know as a reseller. If you're a collector, a different story. The top one is the Trans-Mississippi International Exposition, Omaha, Nebraska, in 1898. In eBay, there was 2 sold, 2 listed, so it's 100%. That's all I found out there. So if you have any of those, they sell. There's not a lot out there. Then you get into the Philadelphia one, 1876, that's 30%. The Chicago one I talked about is 27. The Lewis and Clark, I've seen a lot of those cards, 19. Pan American, Buffalo. Then you got the Louisiana Purchase. And then you start getting into New York, and then you get into the average cards. But those at the top there are the top ones that are moving through there. But if you notice, there's not a lot of these out there. The Expo in Australia, there's 1,072 cards with 12,000. That's the biggest one I found. And that has an 8% sell-through rate. And that didn't sort as well as I wanted. So, but going down there, then the bottom ones, Knoxville and stuff like that, just didn't have anything that was listed and stuff, so there wasn't a lot there. So it's still a little gray area for me, a little cloudy on the stuff, but I have a better understanding how many there were. Now I can look and say, hey, that's a big mover, I can bump it up a few dollars, it's going to move. And so like that. That's what this document does. Now I did an overall average. It's the same document as the name, but at the bottom here, I'll put an arrow there, I found 2,850 with the World Fair Expo's name that I use. 43,748 listed. So there is 44,000 postcards listed for these fairs, even though it doesn't look like a lot. 7% sell-through rate is what's on there. So it's an average card, but you got to dig down. You got to dig down into what World's Fair it is. And if you look at the chart and you say, hey, that's on the top one, I need to go do some more comps, your duty basically to go and do that. This will just help you to say, yeah, this is average or whatever, and set it aside. If it's something important, put it in your special folder or whatever you do, and research it later on and see if you can get a couple more dollars. If it falls in the bottom, they'll say, well, I'm just going to listen due to my regular comping. That's how I use it. But these are all the fares on the list here, and it will be in that document. You can pause this video too and look at it. But that's how I put it together. And so basically it's an average to high cards. So just check out what fare it is. Now I went through and I did some regular comping. World's Fair Exposition cards out there. I wanted to see what I would find if I just did that. Didn't even look at special names and stuff, just did World's Fair. And I found some extreme or higher priced ones. This one here is New York World's Fair 1939, a linen postcard. Lift every voice and sing Augustus Savage. So it must be some kind of statue or something going on there. $150, best offer accepted. Probably took $140, $135, $150, whatever on there. That card sold. But then I looked, like normal, I found an anomaly. The same card sold for $9.50. I'll leave it up to you, but I don't know why. The titles are completely kind of different. I think the top one's a better title than the bottom one. Never Mailed doesn't do much, 1939. It's I like the title of the first one. Old Black Americana Linen Postcard. I don't think that's what that is. I'm not for sure. I don't know enough about it. But $9.50 for that one, and $135.40 for the other one. So you got to be careful when you're comping cards in the postcard world. Then I found one from the 1893 official souvenir postal card. So these were on postal cards, is what it said on the back. Chicago World's Fair Columbian Exposition went for $58. And that looks like one of the ones that I showed in the earlier slides. Kind of like it. I just took a peek. It can be difficult to comp. Take some time with them, see what you got, learn what you. That's why I never really dug into these, because there's just so much to them, and they jump around so much. But you know the top. Now you know the top watermark on some of these. But what's the average stuff that we see out there every day? So here's the high that I picked out. What are they selling for at the high level? Mostly average. So here's one. 1901 Lakeshore, Michigan Southern Railroad Buffalo World's Fair postcard, $40. Sold. New York World's Fair postcard, Jewish Palestine Pavilion. So they have these pavilions at these World's Fairs where I see a lot of the postcards. They have lights on them, fountains, and all this other stuff. And this one has the Jewish Pavilion, sold in the New York World's Fair, 1939, sold for $35. So we're looking at about $35, $40 so far on the average high watermark. And then you got 1939, 1940 New York World's Fair American Railroads Locomotive. It's a real photo postcard. Sold $35, but best offer was taken, probably $30. So yeah, $30 to $40 is your high watermark on some of these things. Is average out there. You can put it out there for whatever you want and what you find for the individual cards. So they're not bad, but there are just a lot of them in certain ones and not a lot in the other ones. So it does take a little bit of time. That's probably why I don't pick up boxes of Expos and stuff, because I think it takes a little bit more research than I'm wanting to do. But if I do get a bunch of them, I'll set them to the side and take my time. And now with my little chart, I got a better understanding if there's some extra dollars or anything there. So I hope this helps on the World's Fair and Expos. Don't be afraid of them. Take your time with them. And a lot of times with most postcards, you're just going to have an average card. But you could have that one that could be a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to be a $150 card, but it could be a little higher than what you normally list. That's World Fairs and Expos. And if any experts out there want to add to this, please in the comments, because this is my first go around with the World's Fairs and digging this deep into it. For years I've never dug that deep into it. Leave it in the comments. Who knew? Now we're going to talk about a poll. When I put polls out like this, it sometimes draws the wrong answers, but I tried to word it the best I could, because I think this is important, because times have changed. since it was the last 2 to 3 years. A lot of people got into reselling, and things are starting to slow down a little bit here and there. Not everybody's at home anymore. People back to work. Bills are due. Debts are owed. So there's also a whole bunch of different things going on. So I want to know why people fail doing postcards. It's not because of all that. I wanted to put things out there that you can have control of. What do we have control of as sellers? So the top one, out of all the things, I did price to high, low value cards, not enough listings, organization, that's a big key, a lot of defects, and just frustration of looking for cards, and other. The top one was not enough listings. I'll get people contacting and say, hey, I got a stack of postcards here, can you look at them? What would you like to know? And they said, well, what do you think they're worth? I said, you have to go and do the homework, just like you do everything else. Well, it takes so long to do each one. They just get this much, and they put up, 50 cards, and they said they don't sell. You don't have enough. You got to have volume and variety, quantity and variety, and that divided back down that I deal with mostly quantity and variety rule. Your higher ones, your real photo postcards, the higher value ones, they sell themselves. You just put them up there, get the right price, they're going to go to collectors or whoever wants them historically. The lower value ones, those are your auction people. They do make a little bit of money, but it's a lot of work, and they moved all their lower value cards. I don't deal in that. I don't do that model, and I don't do a lot of the high model. I like being in the middle. I don't have a lot of stress about looking at things, a lot of research time. It just get the cards, list them. I'm happy with that, and I can list them pretty well sometimes at a lower value because I don't have a lot of overhead, I don't carry debt, I don't promote a lot, don't do a lot of sales, so my best price is out there. A lot of people will price their things up because they're compensating for promoted listings, their sales, their coupons, and it kind of blows them out of the water when people search. So it's whatever you want to do for your business, but set on something in 2024 coming up and just do that. If you're changing all this stuff all around all the time, you really never know what made things happen or go. But not enough listings is one of them. You got to have a good volume to do that, I feel. Now, if you have that one card, it's special, put it up there, and you'll get that one-off seller. The second one was low-value cards. A lot of people will get a bunch of cards that are just abundant out there, or just view cards, or they just don't have any really sellable value and stuff, and they put them up for a higher price than what most are going for. They just haven't done their homework. So a lot of low value cards, things that people don't buy every day. I have some in there because I got a variety. I list almost everything. I have a list of things that I don't do. Mount Vernon, Niagara Falls, different Cypress cards. I got enough of those. I have a few. You got to have a few of everything, but I don't stock my shelves with them anymore. So you want to be careful of that. And then price too high. A lot of people think a piece of paper that's over 100 years old is worth a lot of money. Just remember the golden age of postcards. They said there's over 4 to 6 billion cards were mailed. And they're just saying that's a guess because a lot of people put more than one card in a mailer, in an envelope, to save on postage, is what I read. So golden age of postcards, there's billions of them out there, plus from all over the world. So that little piece of paper is not as unique sometimes as you think it is. The real photo ones can be one of a kind. So you got to be careful with them. You got to learn. You don't have to be an expert. You just got to know enough to get what you bought for and get the best price you can. So price too high. I'm in the market of moving cards. The more cards I move, the more dollars I make. I count more how many cards a month that I sell in a year. How many cards did I move this month? I know what I need to do. I want to do 14 cards a day. And then with my average sales through price, that'll give me my sales at the end of the year. And I watch my expenses and all my other stuff so I can bring the margin I want. Now, if I sell more than 14, that's great. It means I got to buy a little bit more supplies and stuff, but it's just more gravy on top. But if I sell less, then I might need to make adjustments to my business for cash flow. I might have to do a few, reduce cost. So you don't have the sales, you can't keep buying and doing the same thing you have. If you have more sales, don't go crazy. Save that money for the times you don't have. Reselling is inconsistent. Organization is a big one I hear all the time. I might be a freak on organization. It's just the way I am. It's what I've done all my life. Is I like things where they should be. I get rid of the fluff. I don't have stuff lying around. Once in a while it does get out of control, and I just go through and I take the time to reorganize it. Get the garbage out, get the paper, get things organized, and I'm back. I feel better that way, and I do a better job. But organization, looking for cards. Gotta have a system. I don't care how you do your inventory. You can have them in a drawer, you can have them in a metal filer, tubs, boxes, or if you can do it by state, you do it by number, you do it by color, by era. You're going to end up changing it up 2 or 3 times. Everybody does it, so don't feel bad. I use the number system, suit system. A lot of people use the dividers. Some people use tubs. I use boxes. That's what I started with. I don't keep lids on mine because I'm in and out of them all the time. It's just different things, ways of doing it. But you got to come up with something that works for you. And organization, kill it. I'm kind of amazed that's not as higher than it is on there, but not enough listings was number 1. Low value cards number 2. Bump up your listings and get some better cards. It is what I'm hearing from the people that did the poll. And I had some comments on this too. Thomas said, I think whatever you sell, you have to really enjoy it. Yes, you do a better job when you like what you do and love what you sell. I think some people get bored listing postcards because you have to list a lot. Yeah, it's a steady stream for me every day. So what I do is I break it up. Like this morning I came in, I want to list 40 today, 5 for Saturday, 5 for Sunday, and then I list 40. I'll do maybe 20, then I'll go do something else, and I'll come back and do 10. And then I'll do something else. Maybe I'll come back and not do anything today, I'll just pick it up tomorrow. So it doesn't mean you have to sit here for 2-3 hours listing. You can get up and down. Just know where you stopped and started is all it is. And then keep track of what you do. I keep track on there how many cards I had yesterday, how many cards I have today, minus divided by days. It tells me for the month where I'm at. Sometimes I think I'm doing 40 and I'm over it or I'm under and I just need to pick it up a little bit one day. One day maybe I'll sit down and do 100. And that'll get me for the month. So I kind of look at it for a month. I don't worry about it every day as much. I know what I need to do every day, but I look for the end of the month. Am I making it? You know, when I'm going on vacation for a week, I know I gotta bump up my listing if I want to reach my goal for that month. So sometimes I'll make the goal for, like June, we go to Florida. That month I'm only going to do 30 a day or 25 a day because I know I'm going to be gone. But maybe in July I'll say I'm going to do 60 a day, and I'll bump it back up. So I'm not killing myself doing this, but it is a grind. But you can get burned out on it. It's a numbers game. It is. A lot of people will disagree or agree to that, but it can be a numbers game. If you're selling high value cards, totally different model. And although the profit margin is high, the dollar amount is not. Yes, you got to sell a lot of cards to make money. Learning the history behind the cards keep me motivated. Yeah, I try not to go down those rabbit holes, but once in a while I'll see like this tram car thing. I like these things. I'll sit and read about it. I'll go in there and I'll put tram car, you know, in the Franconia notch, and I'll see if they still have them today, and I'll put it in Google, and next thing you know, 5-10 minutes later, I'm down some rabbit hole, and it doesn't do anything with the card. I just wanted to learn about the tram. So what I've done is when I see a special one, I'll set it to the side and move the photos, and I have a little research, you know, folder type thing, lookup folder I call it, where I'll go out and just do my rabbit hole stuff then. So try not to get caught in those rabbit holes. If you got a card you're having a hard time with, just set it to the side and deal with it later. Just get your bulk of your other ones done. That's what it is. But thanks, Thomas. And then Miss Precious Love. I think it's actually a combination of all the reasons listed. I think so too. I think when I did this, I had probably 12, and I broke it down to these 4. And then when their sales aren't what they're expecting, instead of reevaluating their business model, they quit because they assume it's the market and no money to be made. Yeah, people expect instant gratification sometimes. They see all these YouTubers and people selling stuff and they're making money. They don't know what behind the scenes really is. I try to be an open book. If anybody's got questions, I show you what I do, and that's it. But I'm a different type of seller than the full-time people. I'm not making a living off of this. This is supplemental to my retirement. My money's in the mailbox. I'm going almost 5 years now, retired, and we've been fine. This pays for the fish food. Sal's birdseed. He eats like crazy. I gotta sell 10 cards a day just to keep him fed. He's sleeping right now. But I'm in a different boat. But if you're doing this full time and just selling postcards, it's going to be inconsistent. It's going to be a lot of work. Some people can make it happen. I'm one that wouldn't make it happen. Just the way I am. But I used this when I sold toys as filler. So when toy sales went down, the postcards kind of kept not going down as much. So that was a nice filler. And then postcards picking up, and I got out of the toys because I just wanted to slow down that last year. So yes, it's not all the market. You need to basically look at yourself and what you're doing. You got to keep your expenses, everything down. You can't go out and buy 100,000 postcards, for $10,000 and expect to make your money back in a month. It's going to be a while to get that back. And just have expectations. Thanks, Miss Precious Love. Katharina, here in Canada, it is difficult to find lots of postcards to sell. Online auctions rarely sell postcards. Shipping from US to here is expensive. Soon I will need more, but nowhere to get a good deal for 600 more cards. Where you live too can be a thing in there. I'm planning on going to an auction this Saturday. It's a great auction. They got thousands of postcards. They got hundreds of real photo postcards. I can't buy them all. Some ideas, Katharina, is buy smaller lots from the US. They add up over time. I have them in the Ko-Fi store. And I will ship internationally through the Ko-Fi store. People have asked me. I will do that. I just need the address, and then I'll work up an invoice, or I'll just send you and say this is what it's going to cost. Put it out there. I'll use Pirate Ship to ship it. Ko-Fi doesn't have all the rules eBay does, so I just can't open worldwide for a 2-pound pack of postcards to go around the world without any controls or anything like that, where Pirate Ship has all the custom forms and stuff like that. That's not in there in Ko-Fi. So, but if you're international and you want something in the Ko-Fi store, just send me a message in Ko-Fi or email, and we can work something out. I've done that a couple times already. Thanks, Catherine. And then Christopher says, not many collectors from younger generations. I would say so. We're losing more than we're gaining, probably. The people we're losing, I think we're gaining some good inventory. To put a positive on something like that, people that spent their lifetime doing postcards, or the family doesn't want to do anything with them and they sell them off, they get a little bit of money and they get back out into the wild. That's a good thing. But the bad thing is we lose all that knowledge, all that experience. That's how I got the ship cards. They started running out of people that were able or around to sell the cards anymore. And so it just became harder and harder, so that's why they decided to get out of it and the Navy Club. And that's how I ended up, but I still have them out there. I always guaranteed her that when I bought them that they would be available for the sale. So yeah, the younger generations. I'm hitting 60 this year. When you say younger, everybody's younger than me. I see a lot of people reselling and collecting postcards that are in their 20s, 30s, and even younger. The families are into it and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to go away. It's one of the top three things in the country. Stamps, coins, postcards is what I read. So it's going to be around for a while. It's not going anywhere. This boat doesn't turn as fast as people think. But thanks everyone for the comments. And this was a special one for me to find out exactly what people are thinking of why people fail. It's a little different than I thought it would be, so it helps me in perspective. But I'm looking for polls. I'm starting to put together the polls for 2024. I think I got them up to March. I've been putting stuff in over as I get questions. But I want some help this year. I'm asking you to send me some questions, a poll that you would want to do, a question. I really don't care what format you put in there. I have all the details about it. Just to make it different for 2024. What is important to you that you want to know from other people? Now remember, the polls are anonymous unless you put comments, and then your name will pop up, so people can be in there. Now I'm not going to ask you what your sales are, what you sell mostly, and stuff like that. I'm trying to be very high level so we don't get too detailed in people's business. So just send it to me at contact@SMPostcards.com. And I'll let you know if I do schedule it, what month it'll be on. So I'm all the way up to March right now with the ones I got. So I'm looking stuff to fill 2024 from you. So this is our channel. That's the poll. Now we're going to get into comments. Boy, I'm talking a lot today. Got 4 comments here, but I think they're important, and that's why I kept it at 4. The first one is from Vinna. Out of curiosity, I'm simply a collector who enjoys the content. Are posted or unposted cards more popular? For people that are new, what that means is, does it have a cancellation stamp on the back? I don't think I got any. Yeah, like this would be a posted card. It's got a stamp and it's got the killer cancel to make sure to stamp there, and it's got the postmark. Unposted card would be one that doesn't have that. Are they more popular? How I do it, and other people can jump in, and please comment on here on your perspective. I don't read the back of cards most of the time. Sometimes I will look at this to see if it's RPO, BPO, but stuff like that. But I normally never read the back of cards. It's just a rabbit hole I don't go down. Some people do. They get really involved with the details of it and stuff like that. But from what I do, I really don't see a difference. I sell mostly both of them, posted or unposted. Some collectors want clean cards. Some people want it being posted. But I don't make it. I don't add more money or decrease money if it is either way. So to be popular, it's 50-50. To me, what I do. But if anybody else has any perspective, please put it down there on what you do, what you think of it. Thanks, Vina. Then Andy Puller. I like your new show and tell feature. The metal rim postcards are really interesting. I have never seen those either. I do sell QSL cards with no problem, but I don't price them very high, so basically filler cards for me. Yeah, I'm not a QSL guy. But that one guy, and it was from the video where I did the first show and tell, and Old Buffalo sent those metal rim cards and talked about those. But the show and tell thing, I'm still looking for that too, is if you got how you're set up, if you got something really cool, how you do things, or take a picture of it and send it to me, and little notes about it and stuff like that. If you want me to use your name or not, send it to contact@SMPostcards.com, and I have a little bucket I put in there, and when I use it in a video, when I get 2 or 3, I'll do a show and tell segment to show there. If you have a great sale, say you got 3 automobile cards, real photo, and you sold them for $500, let us know, rub it in and stuff like that. I want to share, not in 2024, not just what I do, but what everybody's doing out there, what you're finding and stuff like that. Just neat stuff that's gonna keep our attention and make it worth it. We just can't sit behind these computers listening every day. I want to see new stuff, so send it over there. Thanks, Andy. Then Lynn Frugal. Thank you, Mark. Very good info. You're welcome. I have been trying to fill all the characters in the title because I used to sell shoes and clothes. This is from the video I did, and I had about descriptions, or the titles, about using 80 characters and stuff. So descriptive keywords for help. Probably clothes, you would need all that red and stuff like that, but I don't know. I don't sell that. Now I understand that it isn't as helpful with postcards. Some people say it is. Some people say it doesn't. My perspective, it doesn't. The way I do it, I don't. So just take the pieces that you think will work for you, and try. But the way I do it might not be the way someone else does it, or they don't like it at all. That's their perspective. But the way I've been doing it for years, it's worked for me. But if I have room, I will add the error and post condition at the end. Example, linen unposted, partly because it will automatically populate those fields and item specifics, and partly to help buyers see everything. Do you think this is unnecessary? Direct with that? Yes. I don't put anything more in the title than the subject of the card. Now, if it's a real photo, I'll put like AZO, which is a stamp box, and I'll put the date, circa 1940s or something. Most of the time, I don't put posted and all that stuff. Like we just talked about in the comment before. To me, it really doesn't matter. It's not going to make that decision. And also the era really doesn't matter if there's an item specific for it. Ever since eBay changed up all those categories and stuff like that a long time ago, a couple of years ago, it's just been all over the place. People know what they're looking for. But if you put in the title, all that stuff, people might not click on it and get the card. But they go on and they see the card. People are impulsive. They see a title and a little picture, but they get in and they see the bigger picture, they might hit that buy button. So I want people to get into the listing. So I try to be the subject of the card. What am I selling? I'm not going to get descriptive up there. That's not a description to me. I'm going to get into the item specifics with posted. You can put it in there, and you can put linen in there, and then get them into the thing. That's how I think. But I'm not going to spend my time put all that stuff in there. There's not enough money in an average postcard to spend that much time listing. You're not going to get the payback for your hour. And if you're doing 50 a day, 30 a day, that's going to add to your time. You want to get off and do other things. So, but if it's a real important card, you might want to do something different. You'll see some of my titles out there might have a little bit more than what I say, because I found something that's a little more different. But most of the cards, I don't put that stuff in there. I definitely don't put damage in there. There's a condition statement for that, because I want people to never click on that most of the time. Is what I feel. But that's my perspective. But titles, pricing, and all that stuff is very passionate with people. Shipping and all that stuff, very passionate how they do it. They feel they have the best thing in the world. But people need to be humble and know that people do things differently. So if you come up with a little piece from me, a little piece from somebody else, and come up with your style of doing it and it worked, keep doing it. Get a system. Thanks, Lynn. Then David's Dollar. This was an important one. I get this question a lot. Thanks for the great videos. Thank you. I used a lot of your tips to get started selling. Good. And pick out what you want to, what makes you think you're going to be successful. You don't have to do everything I do. That might not be the best thing in the world. I will fall off a cliff just like everybody else. I use a lot of your tips to get started selling. Great. I hope little things helped you and you made it your own system. One issue I just had was one buyer ended up with 4 cards. Key number, 4 cards. And eBay combined them into a single transaction. So he checked out and it had 4 cards. So he's got an order and he's got 4 cards under one sale. And paid and unshipped. I was offering free shipping. That really doesn't have a play here, as you'll see to me. But now it won't allow me to use ESE, eBay Standard Envelope. Got 4 cards. Free shipping. What does each card weigh? You see where I'm going with this? I ended up paying $3.66 to send Ground Advantage. That's a good price, $3-4. Not expensive cards, and I had offered a discount already, so a bad day for me. So yeah, you kind of broke even on that batch of cards. And I think I can help you. I sent you a message also, but I think I wanted to share this with people, David. It's important. Is there some way to list your cards so eBay doesn't automatically lump them together? No, when people check out, they buy them all at once. I would rather people buy them at once in one big batch. It makes it easier for me when I do that. When I go to ship, I do one at a time. I don't use that bulk shipping and all that stuff and put them in an envelope and then do everything's so close to me. It's 5 steps to my boxes. So I'll scan through my 15 cards, like the 12 cards I sold. I'll scan through and see if the same username is on other orders. Sometimes I miss and I do 2 envelopes to the guy. They'll show up at the same time. But I bundle them together and I do one at a time. I walk over, I get the number, I walk over, grab the card, I come back, put a new sleeve on it, I check, make sure that's the card. If I'm not sure, I'll open up the listing just to make sure. And then I'll put it in an envelope and stuff like that. And then when I print out the address, I double check to make sure the address is there. And it goes in my little shelf there to go out to the thing. And I do it one at a time. That way, if I stop and start, say I got 20 cards to ship, and before dinner, night before, I might come down and pack up 5 of them. And then I get that sidetracked, go do something else. And the next morning, I'll pack up the other 15. So I know where I'm stopping and starting. Some people like that bulk stuff. I just have a system, and it's how I do it. Is there a way to list your cards so it automatically lump them together? Apparently there's no way to break the purchase apart to ship separately. No, you don't want to do that. I would have happily paid $1.11 or 63 cents. So what I think happened here is the gentleman bought 4 cards, and you probably have free shipping set to 1 ounce. 63 cents. eBay combined them. Now it equals 4 ounces. eBay Standard Envelope is good up to 3 ounces. So it's not going to be an option available for you to ship these cards. So what you do is you take the 4 cards, and if you want to put them in one envelope, which I've done, 3 to 4 cards, put them in there, and then weigh it. It's probably going to be 2 ounces, and just go up and change that weight in that shipping. When you go to ship the label, print label, just change that to 2. And you're going to be able to use eBay Standard Envelope. Now, if you order 10 cards, yeah, it's going to be over. And what I've done with that sometimes is put them in separate envelopes. Just print out a label. I'll do 2 ounces per envelope and then just send them all. They'll show up at the same time mostly. So I've done that before. Mostly, I think international I've done it more than anything. But if I get 10, 15 cards and stuff, I just stick it in one of these and send it out. But people have done that separate. Just put them in separate envelopes. They'll get there. And just maybe some. And sometimes I'll put a sticker that says envelope 1 of 4, envelope 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4, and then I'll send a message to the buyer. Hey, I sent these in 4 different messages, envelopes. But that's what you do there. Everything you're doing here is right. I think that's the piece that you missed. Is it should have took that. Especially with 4 cards. It's going to be under 3 ounces for sure. That's everything for today. World Expos. If anybody has more information about those that can help us share, I'll share it out on the comments. It'd be great. But understand, postcards are a long tail game. It can take a little bit to get going. 6 to 8 months. List your first 1,000 cards. Ship your first cards. Get your stuff. Figure out what you want to do. Use a camera if you have to at first. Don't spend a lot of money until you understand what you need to do. Learn your eras. Chrome, continental, chrome, linen, white border, divided back, undivided back, real photos. Don't get caught up in all the deep details about artists and all these things. Don't go after those high value marks until you understand the basics. Then when you reach the top of the hill, everything kind of grows with you. You'll get into the winches, the clap saddles. You'll understand a little bit more and just adding to your knowledge. But list your first 1,000 cards and see if it's what you want to do. But don't go out there and get all dressed up and have nowhere to go. And don't expect instant success unless you get a really good batch of cards. There's always prodigies out there that come in and just take off. But is that sustainable and repeatable? Sometimes it is. Sometimes they just got a good box of cards. And they're getting them out there and the collectors are eating them up. Then they run out of the good cards and they start putting the other cards up like this, average cards, and they don't sell as fast. Then they discourage and they quit. So that's what it is. But that's all I got for today. Here's some more fish. Bye.